Okay, now you are a very busy man. We can't let you go without talking about today.
Yeah.
It was announced at lunchtime today that Darren is leaving the club.
Yeah. It shouldn't have been, because it only went through about 6:30 this evening, because it was tough. But hey, it was a big.
Were you surprised when he put in the transfer? Like, I mean, to leave a club that's fighting European places to go to a club that's fighting relegation?
No, I wasn't surprised when he put the transfer request in, because I kind of felt, I had an inkling, because Darren is a terrific guy. He has been great for us. He's led our sponsorship programs. He's led our any sort of brochures with our foundation. He's done loads of work with us for the club, over and beyond just playing football. And he's bubbly, and he's always in great form. And about 3 or 4 weeks maybe, I come in one day there, because I don't go up to the training ground all the time. I go up once a week just to see if everything's okay. My offices are away from the training ground, about a mile or two away. I went up there a few weeks ago, and I just was something up with him, and then I just looked at his demeanour, and I thought, something up with him. It's not right. And having been in the game, kind of know when somebody's got something else going on in their heads, and it transpired rather that's what had happened. They were setting him up to try and come, and they tempted him, and he took the bait. So it's hugely disappointing for us. But all we could do then was battle hard, and when the transfer request came in, that was probably, the final sort of nail, if you like, that he said, right, this is going to be very hard. Now, we could have tried to stop it. We'd heard he was already down there. It was really difficult. So the only job left for us to do then was to get as good a deal as possible for the club, and to start finding a replacement, a solution to the problem that he's given us.
Which will lead me to my next question, because you bought him from Spurs for 10 million. You've sold him for 18, potentially 24.
Yeah, a bit more actually. But, go on.
Okay, well, a bit more. You can give Kildare TV your exclusive. So he did what? He was third top scorer in the league last year with 24 goals. He's got 8 goals this season. Yeah. He has been great for Sunderland.
Excellent, yeah, and I would never knock him for what has happened. It was just it's a real tough one for us to accept what's happened. It happens with footballers. In some ways, there'll be people out there that say you can't blame him, because he will have got a very, very big pay rise to go to Aston Villa. And look, I find it difficult, because I would be more motivated to try and get the club into Europe first, and then say, look, lads, would it be okay if I went off? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I suppose it's up to us now to, it's gone, it's happened, it's up to us now. I mean, we're not going to replace somebody like him perfectly in the next 10 days. I don't think so. We're going to try very hard, and we might find a bit of a solution, but then we'll look to long term trying to find a solution as well. And football's like that,
Okay, as we said, it was a huge transfer fee. Are you going to let that money burn a hole in your pocket? Who's going to replace?
It's very like, just to give you a little bit of background knowledge, we owe Spurs money, and the second you sell, because you do your transfers in stages, so we would have paid Spurs over a 3-year period. We still owed a full year on that. And Aston Villa, when they bought the player, the first thing they've offered us is just barely enough to pay Spurs. So it's not as if I have money burning in my pocket, but in the next 3 years I will have. So it's important. Like, people, we didn't get handed a cheque for 24 million today. We got handed a cheque for about a quarter of that. But having said that, we had to pay Spurs the remainder of the money we owed them. So it dwindles down. But if we can find a club that will do a deal that will allow us to pay in stages, then we'll be fine. It gets a bit technical now, I know, but it's just, all I'm saying is it's even more difficult than you think.
And we're going back to Spurs. There's a striker there who's not going to Birmingham, Niall.
Yeah.
Might he be going to the Stadium of Light?
No, the problem there, I would imagine, is with what we're probably looking for to help Jean along, and Danny Welbeck would probably be a physical presence. We just might need to toughen up and find a more physical player. Robbie works well off a big physical player, but we don't have that now. Darren, 6 foot, good in the air, obviously got his goals. So we missed that, whereas Robbie just doesn't quite suit us now.
Okay, and just, David Beckham is now back in the Premier League as well, just to throw it out there.
Well, David is cool. I don't know him that well, but anytime I've been in his company, or anytime I've watched him in whether he's trying to get the World Cup or the Olympics, I just see a guy there who understands how famous he is, carries it off really, really well, and then when push comes to shove, has that touch of class that makes a difference, and very easy to make your mind up on people like that when you don't know them, but very easy for people to not like somebody if they don't know them, and he would have had a lot of begrudges in his time, but I'd have to say there's something about him. He's handled it all brilliantly in the last few years, and he's become a bit of an icon over there, having been absolutely pillared from post to post there a few years ago when he was sent off playing for England a couple of times. So he's turned it around great, and I think he's a great ambassador for the game.
Okay, well, one final thing. We'll ask you to give a little bit of an exclusive here to Kildare TV. If you had a personal choice, and I know you've only had a couple of hours to dwell over this, so I'm not going to... Who would you choose?
Who would I choose?
You could buy anyone to replace Darren.
In the world, I would buy a young Tony Cascarino. And I'll come to think of it, I wouldn't, because I know it would happen later on in life. I suppose in a wish list, which will never happen, I guess, you know, my favourite player would be Wayne Rooney. I really think when he's on song and he wants to do it, he can just control the final third of the pitch, which is the hardest third, you know. You can find great midfielders who can control it from midfield, great defenders who are strong. But when you've got 4 against 2 generally in that area, and they're usually a foot and a half bigger than you and stronger than you, it takes something, you know, brilliant to actually, you know, turn all that on its head and just be absolutely invincible in that position. And over the years he's been great, and he's hasn't got going yet this season, but he'd be one that I would have, yeah.
Niall, thanks very much for talking to us, and best of luck in Europe.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
When you get there.